Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to my house. Good afternoon, Tom. I just sent you an email. And Yeti, are you here? Can you hear me okay? Chris Francone, this is your 37th webinar with us. You never say anything. You don't reply to any of our emails. I'm going to need some kind of back and forth with you today, Chris, or I got to kick you out. I'm not sure what you're doing here anymore. If you're a competitor spying on us, or my wife under an assumed name to make sure I'm not flirting with the customers. Chris, you got to tell me what's up, bro. You've been here for a long time. You don't reply to Brian's emails. You don't reply to my email. Come on, man. So, and Yeti, I answered your question. I'm going to go over it again, bro. I'm going to go over how the software works again with you, because you had asked about that in last week's webinar. Now, Lilburn, there are people who come to the webinar over and over and over and over and over again. And we reach out, we send emails, we send them notes in the webinar, and they never respond. Ever. How can we help you? What's going on? Do you want a fruit basket? What do we got to do? And radio silence. Crickets. So I try to ask people what's going on. And sometimes they're here long enough in the webinar where it becomes a distraction, right? And so I don't want that to be a distraction. I want a relationship with the people that we're working with. I want to understand what they're doing and how we can help them. Woo! Happy Thursday. One more day to go until a long weekend. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate everybody being here. It's good to see you. Abel, welcome. Yeah, Abel, we'll go over best settings today. I'll show you the differences and how those work if you want. Absolutely. And matter of fact, why don't we just get started? We'll get into it and go from there. So for those of you that don't know, we've been around for 13 years. We've got 3,000 or 4,000 customers right now, all over the world, every financial market, cryptocurrencies, futures, Forex, equities, long-term trades, daily, weekly charts, down to scalps on 4 Renko bars, 30-second charts, commodities, corn futures, wheat futures, soybean, oil, gold, silver, home heating oil, crude, whatever you're into. We've developed a tool for you, Tachyon Warp. The Tachyon Warp program, over 12,000 lines of code with one single purpose: to tell you the times that the market are most likely to move up and move down in the future. We get together 2 days after I send those behavioral time forecasts out in advance to see what will work. And we try to frame everything in the form of a question. What is trading about? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And we would agree, we'd have to agree that signals must be leading in nature. Trades are a guess about the future, a high probability guess with risk control. about what will happen 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours from now. He speaks, will this work with 4 range bars? Yes. Yes, it'll work on 4 range bars. Chris, is there a market you want to see a 4 range bar on? I'm going to stop here to see if I get an answer from you. What market would you like to see the 4 range bar on? Okay, 4 range ES, you got it. So what we do is pretty simple. The software at its core is designed to do the following. Here we are in time. Let's call this the present. The software, and you don't think this will work, but I'll show you today that it did. The software goes back and it looks in the past. Here's the past. But it looks in the past for recurring time patterns, time-based, buy and sell. That's what it's doing. And when it identifies one, Chris, it projects that into the future. Right? That's how it works. That's how it works. So earlier in the week, in a popular E-mini S&P chart, in a popular E-mini S&P trading group, I posted a series of forecasts for the S&P on a 15-minute chart. Today, you'll see my signal here when the chart opened up and how the market fell into a $2,000 winner this afternoon using a 15-minute chart. But even here on my chart, you'll see the upcoming trading signals on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, so let me try to find something to work with here. There we go. So Chris, on this chart, this is crude futures, right? Oil futures for today. Now, at first glance, when you look at the signals, you think to yourself, well, it looks pretty good. It's not too bad. And you would be right. Let me pull something up here real quick. Where's the chart? There's the chart, 1203, 1203. Perfect. So earlier this week, ladies, gentlemen, I sent out a link to outputs from the software. So Brian, I'm going to paste this link for the outputs in the chat box. And you'll see at the top of the page, these are the forecasts or the recurring time patterns that the software discovered for Wednesday, and for Thursday. Now, Parker, check it out. This is the crude futures chart that I sent out on Tuesday evening. All right, Tuesday evening. It's Thursday today. So 2 days ago, the software went back and it said, hey, I found some things that you might want to pay attention to. And it said, I found a selling pressure at 1203, a pattern where banks are, for whatever reason, selling at these times. And then I'm yet buying at these signals. And so since Tuesday, Parker, I've been waiting for these times to see if the theory holds water. Today on Facebook, I was accused of being a snake oil salesman. Not the first time. I've been accused of fraudulent teachings. But really, it comes down to this. What happened at the times, these are all Eastern time, what happened at the times in Crude that the software said to look for a signal? So Parker, can you see here where it says 1203 on my chart, 1115 and 1254? Those three times, Chris? Well, over here, here's 1119, 1203, 1030, and 1254. Chris, we're off one bar on the 136, right? We're off one bar. It's actually 139. The signal at the open of Crude at 903. And then Parker, do you see this one at 957, how it's a little weird? It's the highest high of the morning right here. Same thing happens over here, right? There's a prior swing, and then Chris, it's the highest candle right there. In your GoToWebinar handouts box, there's a book called the Histogram Guidebook. I'm going to show you two ways to know that those were going to be reversals. Brian, check it out. In the Histogram Guidebook, it says the following. If we arrive at a buying pressure signal that is the highest high or equal to the highest high, either the buying pressure signal candle, Richard, the candle to the left or the right of that buying pressure signal, we assign an inversion to it, meaning that it's most likely to reverse polarity. It's most likely to reverse polarity. It's most likely to not go up. It's most likely to go down. So Mary, over here, the high was 82.87. And then on this signal, the candle to the left, it was 82.89. So it's higher than the previous swing, and we gave it a red arrow. Now, look at what happens between 9:57 and 10:30. It fell. Same thing happens over here. The market had a swing. The prior high was 82.40. It came down all the way up, and right on the new buying pressure signal, Tim, do you notice the new high is 82.48? Well, that qualifies. So let's take this signal off. In the book, we know that these are called pattern fives. Using a book that you have access to, so you know I'm not making this stuff up. Based on that, Parker, most of the signals we were waiting for in oil, the biggest moves of the day, 2 days after I sent the signals out, worked pretty good. You can see what happened during the European session, right? Chris, would you agree that the signals I sent out for the European session, 309, 330, 351, and 430, 309, 330, 351, 430, that have been published, emailed to 18,000 people 2 days before the signals. In the European and the pre-European market, those times and directions produced some relatively consistent accuracy. So these are for the European customers today, the Australian customers, right? That's not too shabby. Now, again, I'm a snake oil salesman, so I don't know what I'm talking about. However, the signals for yesterday performed equally as admirably. Now, that's just one market. Losing my voice here. That's just one market. I want to show you both a few things. Number one, if you're a Forex trader and you've been coming to my webinar for a few weeks or more, Brian, do you remember when I told people that the turning point in the euro would be on January 6th? Was there anyone here last week or the week before or the week before that when we look at these forecasts together that remembered we had this signal on January 6th where I said that's when this thing is going to start to reverse and go up? Well, it doesn't take a genius to see the closing price of that day on a daily chart. Ian, look, like a rocket, broke out of the range. It's almost at the moving average. And the four prior signals with trend had 170 pips, 118 pips, 134 pips, and this little bugger was only 140 pips. This is still counter trend, so I can't trade it, but of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trend signals, 4 out of the 5 worked. Last week we looked at the E-mini S&P on a daily chart. And there were two signals, the 8th and the 10th. And on the 10th, I went long. Right here, signal with trend. And for 1, 2, 3 days, it went up. Still pulling down a little bit. That's okay. We said it was going to go down on the 8th. And there are 3 blue bars, down, down, down on the S&P. But I've told you this now for months, weeks. The next push-up was coming on the 10th. We can apply the same logic to equities on large time frames. Apple, I warned everyone here when it looked like we'd put in a new high. Happy days are here again. Na 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 na. No, that's called a stop run. Trapped longs that got squeezed. The next signal is on February 2nd. And the signals in the direction of the trend were on October 11th, October 26th, and December 20th. Those were the windows of time that the software had identified in advance and said, listen, these are the times to be looking for calls, to buy Apple. The next time is coming when? On the 2nd. So when it was breaking out, if you had gone into puts instead of calls because the software said, hey, they're going to do it. Here it comes. You had an idea. But again, this isn't hindsight. I told you about these dates weeks ago. We have the recordings of the webinars to prove it. Other stocks are similarly staged. Here's Tesla on a daily chart. I love Tesla. It's one of the most, I believe, corrupt markets to trade. The only reason Elon is not in jail or severely fined is because he's sending our astronauts to space and taking money out of Russia's pockets from the Soyuz program. The next time to buy Tesla is here. It's on the chart. Everywhere there's a white line was a date that I told you about before the move. $73, $73, $138, only $3. And then the last move was a $73 move. When's the next signal coming? On the 17th. You know where I think it's going to go to? Mary, I think they're going to trip this stop right here. I think they're going to trip the stop at 892-ish and freak people out. At the very least, they're going to reattack that low and trip out those stops before the 17th. I'm having trouble reading your comments, sorry. So on this chart, Abel, this is a 369 calendar with a swing strength of 8 on the Tesla chart. I'll go back and show you the settings on each of those. Yeah, Everett, hang on. Stand by. We'll get that 1 minute chart up. No worries. NQ 0322. NQ is my favorite chart, by the way. I love me some NQ. We'll load it up with the standard default values that we sent out. Calculating snake oil salesman. Da-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, bump, bump. So Everett, these are the signals from this afternoon. I'll blow the chart up. What do you think of that? So Everett, I would have told you to sell at 1027. Hallelujah. Let me just change this color to blue for me, if you'll indulge me. Yeah, no, I don't take criticism well. You know that, Bert. I turn into a whiny criticism baby because I know how this stuff works. That's the problem. So Everett, everywhere you see a blue dot is a place I would have shorted to the next white dot. Right? We'll just keep going. Whoops. So let me back up here. And you can see the signals. The ones with trend this morning were at 931 and 958. So here, Everett, I'm going to do some math with you, okay? Enter, exit, 21. Enter, stop loss, minus 48. Enter, exit, 20. Enter, exit, 23. enter, exit, 5, enter stop loss, 22, enter stop loss, 7, enter stop loss, 48. We're going to add these up here in a second. Enter, exit, 119, enter, exit, flat, enter stop loss, enter small loss, enter stop loss, enter stop loss, enter plus 34, enter plus 58, enter stop loss, enter exit. Okay, so Everett, let's do the math, all right? Calculator, that's what I want to see. 21 plus 20 plus 23 plus 5 plus 8 plus 48 plus 119 plus 0 plus 34 plus 58 plus 48 minus 23 minus 19 minus 21 minus 34 minus 23 minus 48. I'm missing a couple here. I missed this one. This guy right here. Minus 34 and 30. Minus 34 minus 30 equals times $20 per dollar. So Everett, that's a $3,000 day per contract on a macro or a $300 day on a micro. Correct. I use those lines as stops. So right now on this chart, for example, if you look here, when the market arrived at 1210, Everett, the software is telling me historically the market is driven or manipulated down until 1224. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So if that's the case, trading, as much as I've learned from Brian Cusimano, who's our pro staffer here, trading is about risk management. So in the software, I've set the gap of risk to be this. That value in the software is presently 1.5 times the average true range. So you'll see here, I'll blow it up so you can see the value. Volatility stop offset 1.5. So it's 1.5 average true range or bar values away, just outside the window of noise. So Everett, when I get in here, some people get in at the open, I get in at the close. There's a window, like a bank vault, that opens. And I look in and there's a guy from JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. Hey guys, what's up? What are you doing in here? Who let Everett in? I got this program. Told me you guys are going to be in here. What are we doing? Stealing money? Maybe. All right, I'm just going to take money while you're taking money. How did you even know we were going to be here? Warp signal, 1210. Knew about it. A couple days now. Nice watch. All right. I'm going to take money until the time where the software warns me the bank door usually closes. And I'm going to take my hand out of there before they pinch my fingers. So Everett, I enter at the close and I exit at the close. Does that make sense? And that was, what did we say, a $3,000 day. And then as you go back in time, right, Everett, can you see how that works in the other direction? 1:01 this morning, 6 a.m. London time. The candle closes above the moving average. I enter at the close of the candle, stop below the crossover candle. I'm going to hold it until the close of the 115 signal. 118 comes, I'm going to enter at the close of the candle. I'm going to exit when that window closes at 127. 128 comes, I'm a bar and a half away on my risk envelope. Enter at the close, and Everett, I exit within a few ticks of the high of morning for 14 ticks. And then right here, when I see that failure, Everett, this is the first place that the buyers didn't push price higher. And in my head, this is a little more advanced. I'm thinking, no buyers left. The banks are going, yeah, we're good. We got all the stops we wanted. And that alerts me to 201. Well, if they're not buying, what are they doing? They're going to gang up on 201. And so now I enter on the crossover of that candle, stop above the high. And look, it drops down $12 right away and finishes. Where does it finish? At the close of the 221 signal. So Brian, not only do I give the times in advance, if we go back to the web page that I sent everybody, I want you to see that I gave you the rules for the setup. I gave everybody everything in advance. Zoom 200%. We'll be showing how the signals can be traded using one of these two entry rules. The first signal we'll measure is a signal with trend. Everett, I'll be using a 1.5 ATR volatility stop when we demonstrate the setup on Thursday. So when I did that with your market and the times that I sent you 2 days ago, that was a $3,000 day. Yay. Not if this works as I'm showing, I've showed it to you. I've already showed it to you. It already happened. Not if it worked, it works. Right? Okay. On Tesla, before I forget, yeah, you saw the settings for Tesla. Let me go back to the Ford chart because you asked about those settings, guys. Yeah, Everett, you should buy the software. Brian's going to tell you how. You would have paid for it today in 1 day, which is bananas. So Apple, my settings are 714.8, and for Ford, same settings, I believe. Yeah, 714.8. So Everett, check out the other signal. It's called a puncture trade. So if you traded in the direction of the trend with Ford, you had the 916 signal in September, the 1017 signal in October, and the December 3rd signal. An 80-cent move, a $5 move, about a $2.50 move right here, right? Everett, those are signals with trend, SWT, signal with trend, 120 period moving average. Now, the blue lines that are selling signals, did you trade this call today, Brian, when it broke through? When it breaks through, Everett, the blue line in the direction of the trend, what the trade is based on is this. There were supposed to be sellers here. And the price, Everett, was supposed to do this, right? kind of drift around and go down. Brian says he used Warp to buy calls, and this trade was super important for him. Good deal. So it didn't do that. Everett, it didn't do that. It kept going. So in this chart, you'll see here where I had the green arrow, where it punctures the blue line. Everett, before you go, every customer that bought the software and every customer that's here today had what you called some really bad experiences. When you look at the reviews on Trustpilot, they're real people with real credit card receipts that bought the program, and they all had the same experience as you. We are the island of lost toys. I hope you'll join our family. We have the same scars you have and the same experiences and the same losses and the same crappy vendor experiences. Keep us in mind, and I'm really appreciating you be here. Brian especially. So when it breaks through that blue line, it's like a breakout trade. Your stop, your risk is just below the breakout candle, right? We'll put a risk right there. And now you can hold it if you want until the next signal, or you can get out with a 1-to-1 on your risk or a 2-to-1 on your risk if you're scalping. So that's our signal for Ford as well. If we come over and we look at the cryptos, this is Ethereum on a daily chart. I don't like the 714 settings on tech. I tend to refer to the 369. And Ethereum has too many signals. So I'm going to pull it back to a larger swing strength, like a 15. There we go. That makes a little more sense. So on Ethereum, this is the first place here on the 12th that we're expecting buying until the 28th of January. Now it did fall down, but here's my thought. If you'll notice, Brian, they hit the same value, triple bottom, and then they broke through it. I think this was a stop run, and I think we're going to see this thing climb up. Now back up into the 28th of January. Yeah, we can do Bitcoin. I have it on calendar days, but I think on the daily chart it doesn't make a difference. I asked Ron if it made a difference, and he wasn't sure. Yeah, that's on calendar days right now, believe it or not. If we want to put it on trading days, I can drop it back down on the swing strength. Reload Ninja script. Huh, that's interesting. Yep, so if you put it on trading days, Abel, you want to go to a lower swing strength. Here's a 12. But the 369 always, trading days on that. And now we've got a good chart there, and we're up again still until the 24th. So that's good. If we go to Bitcoin, we'll see if the same signals work. Yeah, Abel, they work just as good. Go ahead and move it over. And you can see the buying points that were predicted here, 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 and now here. We're below the moving average, so from a Bitcoin perspective, we're looking for shorts with this futures market. We expect consolidation and a push up until the 27th. Yeah, so we can definitely do that. And then down on the lower time frames, I've got a 60-minute chart for Bitcoin here, Bitcoin futures, and some pretty good settings, all based on the 714 swing strength 8. And for Ethereum on a 5-minute chart, those were the times I gave out in advance for that market. We had shorts at 11:20, 11:45, 10:25, 2:05, and 2:55. Alberto, I don't have a gold dollar, but I do have a gold futures, which is going to track that market the same. I don't have the data feed. So on a daily chart, we'll go GC0222. Get rid of these drawing tools. Remove all drawing objects. Yes. We'll come in here. And we'll do the 3, 6, 9 trading day. And come down. Give me 1 second to tune it. There are 4 settings that I usually go through that will lock in for one of those settings on a market. I haven't looked at gold yet. Almost there. There we go. Okay, so for gold, this is a 369 with a swing strength. This is a 9 with a swing strength of 15. You can make it lower if you want. So Alberto, these are the signals that I have on a daily chart. The settings that I use, and we'll go over these. If you email me, I can tell you what settings to use. We use the 714.00, the 3000, a 3690, and a 1230. When you have a lot of numbers, use a higher swing strength because you're going to get more data. No, yeah, and then for this, you're going to use a lower swing strength. And this is an 8. So those are the best values. Hey, Juan's from Spain. Great news, man. Hey, Juan, can you do me a favor? ¿Puede hacer un favor? Let me get this for you here. Thanks, Abel. Okay. I'm sending you a link. Por favor, ¿puede escribir unas notas sobre su experiencia para las otras personas saber cómo expectar con nosotros y la programa? ¿Sí? Tú puedes escribir qué quiere, no quiero saber, y poner cuántas estrellas de 5 tú piensas que necesitamos. 1, 4, 5, 0. Por favor, si tiene tiempo, si no, está bien. So yeah, these are the settings. Yeah, go ahead and write something for me, please. These are the settings that I generally use for everything. So for gold, that's what I have on a daily chart. Now, I did have gold settings, gold signals intraday on a 5-minute chart today. So Alberto, when I sent the times in the future, the signals for gold were, espera, here, gold were these signals. So let's see. how we did. 714.8. Good. So Alberto, tú puedes ver qué pasar, right? I'll put the arrow at the times that was working. To see if the program estaba correctamente, if it was correct. So this is Asian, European, and US. This one no trabaja, no inmediatamente. Yo puedo hablar español contigo si necesitas ayudarle, o tenemos personas, una en España, el otro en Colombia, que pueden ayudarle. Los dos ganar dinero usando la programa. Uno se llama, dos se llama Juan Vega en Colombia y Juan en España también. Los dos usan la programa para ganar dinero y ayudarme cuando hay personas quien necesita más que yo puedo dar. Gracias, Alberto y Gerardo. I have a wife from, she's half Cuban and half Italian. No problema, Gerardo, yo puedo darle su email. Esperamente. And I speak Spanish and she doesn't. And she's mad at me because of it. Juanan.futuros@hotmail. Gerardo, espera, puede ver aquí la tarjeta allí. Juanan.futuros@hotmail.com. ¿Sí o no? Él tiene todos los programas que los vendemos y tú puedes preguntarle todo. O si necesitar ayudarle, él puede ayudarle. Juanan.futuros@hotmail.com. Alberto también, si quiere escribirle. Here you go. Wow, today was Spanish Day in the webinar. So Brian, what's the question? How come on daily chart using more days? So daily chart is weird. You have to use at least 10 years of data. So 3650. There you go. That's my default, Brian, 3650 on the data. Okay. Then it has enough signals to do what it needs to do. Other than that, you're not getting enough data because you're looking back weeks and months instead of days. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. These were the signals on the European yen if you're a Forex trader today. The big trade of the day was the sell at 10 o'clock. Down. Nice touch of the moving average too. Kissed it and came down 42 pips. The prior signal only came down 10 pips. And then the signal with trend before that was 12 pips. We had a crossover here that failed for 5 pips, it looks like. So really nice signals today. Like, yeah, so Brian, if you want to have a more accurate or a fresher perspective of the signals, I would look back fewer times. So for example, on the daily chart, right? Let's go to Tesla. So say, for example, you wanted to have fewer signals or fresher signals. Smaller numbers get you more recent. Smaller numbers, the 1, 2, 3, for example, gets you a more recent analysis. Just like the Nasdaq on a 1 minute chart. But you'll generally, if you just use those 5 templates I told you about, you'll generally stumble across the one. Exactly. You'll stumble across the one that works for you. You'll see it on the chart and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Definitely pretty cool. We had a DAX chart here today. If you're a DAX trader, I'll pull it over here so you can see the European market signals on the DAX. And again, you can kind of get a sense that the software is finding patterns that I don't think institutions want you to see. And the guy who called me a fraud, his name was Peter, he said, why would banks waste their time manipulating markets? And I said, holy cow, no one's that stupid. Well, I found the guy who was. So, yeah. So Brian, for me, it's a game. It's a game. So I can pick an instrument. For example, I know most of the indices that are related to the ES are not based on a 714. They're based on a 9. Anytime it's a stock in the S&P or it's related to the S&P, a 9-day trading cycle for me is the go-to. And then I can work with it. So let's look over here. Stocks in the S&P 500. Right? What do we got today? Biggest stocks in the S&P 500. Here we go. So Microsoft, right? Let's come over here and look at I don't even know, but let's take a look. New chart, MSFT. I should just make 4 templates so we can go through them really quick. Day 3650, and I'll load the default AAAA standard template. So Brian, if you came to me and I said, I want to load the Microsoft chart, there's where default values would give us, right? And they're good. They're not bad at all. Yeah. But now in my head, I'm going to run through the choices. So now instead of 714, let me look at 9. And I want to see the signals change and look really good. If I go to a 9, I usually, because I only have one number, I'll lower the swing strength to a 5. And I'm getting good signals. Okay, are they as good as the 714? I think that one was better. Okay, then I'll try the 3. And Brian, you see how the 3 was better than the 714 and the 9? Yeehaw. Okay, then I've got 2 more to try. I'll try the 1, 2, 3. And when I have 3 numbers, I can't use a small swing strength. I go back in the other direction. So I'll go to like a 15. And the 3, which is a derivative of the 9, looks good too. Now I'll go to, I'm sorry, the 369. So I have the 4 choices, and I'm just bouncing back and forth from a 5 to an 8 to a 15. That looks pretty good. There's a pattern 5 up here. There's a pattern 4 right here. But my favorites right now are the 9 and the 714. So it's like a battle between those two, but it's not taking me very long to get to those decisions, right? And so I'm just comparing those 4 or 5 choices with each other. And you'll see the ones that are jumping on top of each other. So here, the 714 works really well, but the 9 works great too. Yeah, so let's go to another stock. Netflix, NFLX. We do the same exercise, right? Brian, that's 714 on the Netflix. Yes, Alberto. Yeah. So when you see a chart that's locked in like that, stay with it. Now we can try the other settings, right? I'll go to the 9. And you can save all of these as a template. So it's easier for you to switch back and forth. And you see how the 9 works too as well? I was so close to a 5 right there. So the 9 is better. 9-5. The fewer numbers there are in the look back, the smaller the number has to be to compensate. The more numbers there are in the look back, the larger the swing because you're putting more swings into here. The more numbers, bigger swing. Fewer numbers, smaller swing. So we know the 9 is good. All right, let's go from a 5 to a 4. And I'm trying to connect to all the pivots on the chart. So the 9 looked better than the 714, and then Brian, I'm tuning that volume dial of the swing strength. And now I've locked in Microsoft, Netflix. So if you're trading stocks at home, just remember 9000 swing strength 4 with a 10-year look back. And gosh, it's so close to a pattern 5. Let me check one thing. That is a pattern 7. We could turn on the software, but look. Brian, you see that? There's the highest high. And it fully engulfs this candle right here from your book. Check it out. Can you see that? Let me pull it over. There's the highest high candle, brand new high, and the buying signal candle is in the shadow of that whole body. Can you see how it dropped off after that? Yes, you got it. They're inverse. My math teacher would say they are inversely proportional to one another. So that was a pattern 7, which is a trend reversal pattern. You want to do one more? How about, yeah, it's in the software. Turn your swing strength down on the pattern 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. Pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at one more. How about we can look at Pfizer or Disney? Which one do you want to look at? Pfizer or Disney? Yeah, the smaller the number, Brian, the more sensitive it is to the swings. The more signals you'll see. The larger the number, the less sensitive it is. The swing strength that it's using to measure is smaller. So let me just save this template before I forget. Save as NFLX daily. All right, Pfizer it is. New chart PFE 3650 on the days. We'll set it up as that. We'll load our default template. Here it comes. So Brian, there's the default 714 on Pfizer. Okay, so I look at it to see, are the signals working more often than not? They are. Yeehaw. Yeah, we can look at UB. So now I'll come into the indicator. Charles, what time frame? And then Chris, I didn't forget your 4-range ES. So now I can come over here. Trading days, 9. Swing strength, 5. And it works. I can come in and lower the swing strength even more to catch some of these highs and lows that I'm missing. And now, Brian, that works better. Okay, I can come and check a 3 while we're in here. The 3 caught this high and that high. So the 3 is better than the 9. Yeah, Charles, I'll show you a 3-minute chart. There's a guy who bought the software based on signals. I emailed him a couple days ago. So the defaults will always work good, the 714.8, but the 3 or the 9 are usually better for S&P based stocks. Here's the 714. I understand. That's why you commit. Stick with one and commit. Find it, look at how it looks good, and then lock it down. All right, let's take a look at the ES on a 4-range chart. ES 0322 range 4. I'm going to load. Can I load 30 days? Is that going to screw me up? Let's load 7 days first. We'll try this on a 1-day look back and then work it backwards. Yeah, when you start changing settings all the time, you get into curve fitting. It's a dangerous endeavor. So we'll look at UB next, and then we'll look at the ES on a 4-range chart. And George, if it's all right, I'm going to show him what I sent you a couple days ago for the forecast for today. So Chris, here you go. We're going to load the software. Chris, if I show you this and it works, are you going to buy it? Probably not. Okay, cool. Tachyon time warp. We're going to do trading days. We'll do a 1-day look back with a swing strength of 3. We'll see what we get. Oh, here you go, knucklehead. I want to live where the people are. Swing strength of 3 is kind of tight, but we can adjust it. But do you see here, Chris, how it's working? And now we can dial it in. We can get fewer signals if we want. Raise the swing strength. It'll work on a range bar, no problem. I'd love to train you and show you how it works as a customer. So yeah, it works on a range bar, no problem. All right, so who said UB? Charles. I had a customer who asked me about UB earlier this week. J.E. George of the Jungle. And I want you to see, George, can you see that? Does Google show up on the GoToWebinar? These are the forecasts for tomorrow. Yes, Chris. So George, I sent, I'm screwing up everybody's names. Charles, I sent George this forecast for today on UB. And now if we come over and open up the chart, I think it's still here. He asked for a custom forecast and I gave it to him. There we go. George, let me get rid of the drawing objects. I'm sorry, Charles, let me get rid of the drawing objects, and then Brian, I'm going to get rid of that higher time frame, right? Can you see what happened, Charles, at the times today? $7:36, $8:12, $8:39, $9:24, $10:54, $12:33, $1:33, $2:33, $2:09, $3:45. And again, the signal times, oops, let me come here, just so you can compare and see I'm not making this stuff up. Again, there we go. 9:24, 10:54, 12:33, 1:33. Same stuff. Yeah, the settings were 714 swing strength 8, 1.5 ATR. Yeah. Brian, 1, 2, 3 for tech stuff, 714 for most other stuff, 9 for anything related to the S&P. 3-9. The best way to check it is to have all 4 or 5 of those set up as a template and add each template to a chart and look at it. Look at all 4, compare them to each other, and the one that's working will show up. You'll look at it across the room and go, that one, ooh, don't change it, save it. There's always one out of the 4 that will glow. Right? Yeah, so this works for futures, it works for Forex, it works for bonds and notes and corn and wheat and oil and silver and palladium and Netflix and Qs and SPYs and all of it. All of it. All right, how do you get it? Well, you have to buy it. You have to buy it. You go to the website And the product is called Tachyon Warp. Charles, you're awesome. Forget me. I'm just the monkey who sits here and shows people stuff. You guys are the stars of the show. If you look in your GoToWebinar chat box, and Brian, I'm going to pass this over to you because I'm just about out of voice. You will see backtothefuturetrading.com/Tachyon Warp. Brian, let me know on Skype if your microphone is ready and I can. Yeah, no, I needed to show those settings because it helps people understand. That's a popular question. How do I get the most accurate settings on my market? So I wanted him to see that. So this is the Tachyon Warp. That link that I pasted into your GoToWebinar chat box has a Buy Now button at the bottom of it. And I wanted those of you that are getting ready to buy the software to know we do have a training room that meets Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those of you that are customers too, this is important. We show entries and exits based off of the signals in the software. And that class meets 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. And my partner Ron actually keeps track of those signals in the room. Over the last year, these are the hypothetical results of the setups that he shows in that training room Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you're struggling as a customer or you need help when you get started, the training room option is a great option for you. So here, the contracts that he's trading, it's probable is a hypothetical $60,000 return. It's $200 a month for the room. If you don't buy it when you get the software, it's $150. If you buy it with the software, you're looking at a 30-to-1 return on the investment, if that's what you're looking at doing potentially, right? If you don't want that, fine, don't buy it. Go to the checkout without it, and you'll see that there's a place for a promo code, WARPOFF. 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 I'm going to write it down. You need the promo code. All one word, no caps, no spaces. You get 2 licenses, lifetime updates, free installation and training is included with that. You also have lifetime video archive access as well with that. You also should know that we have a 4.8 out of 5 on our Trustpilot rating. These are actual customers with actual receipts that are using the software, that are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with our company. And so as you come down and you look and see what people have written, you can get a feel for a sense of what other customers have gone through. Real customers abused by other vendors inside of our environment, our training, our software, sharing their experiences with the world. Real customers, real proof, real receipts.